Segura launches one to deep left field, and that ball is out of here, and the Phillies have bamboozled the Mets for the fourth straight day.
Real heroes.
Gene Segura, the walk-off three-run homer. The Phillies score 5 at the bottom of the ninth.
I've worn Mets and Jets fandom on my sleeve for most of my life. There are points of time in my existence where it's really all I was known for. I could go on for years on how the Mets haven't always held up the promise they put forth in their theme song of guaranteeing me the time of my life. And the Jets, well,
Open, drops the ball. Eagles pick it up. They've got the turnover.
they haven't made the playoffs since I was in 6th grade. But for the purposes of not taking up the rest of your whole life, I'm gonna contain the character building that being a Mets and Jets fan has been to just the last year and a half, and it'll still be enough for you to understand. That's to achieve a balance on the sake of your time and still give you more than a fair glimpse into the mental state of chaos. Let me make it clear though, I love these teams, and I've never been the kind of fan to carry anger or resentment to the players or coaches who do their best to give me happiness. To anyone who ever questions my loyalty to something, how could I ever cheat on a partner if I stuck through all this? So let me take you back to September of 2022.
And Eduardo punches one through the hole. Base hit. Here comes Lindor. Bleday with the throw to the plate. Lindor is safe, and the Mets win it.
At this precise moment, the Mets looked like a World Series contender. At 98-58, they were one win in Atlanta away from wrapping up the National League East Division crown. Just one. Do not get swept, and you win the division. To go ice it are the best 3 pitchers the team has, 2 of whom are probably in the top 5 to 10 in all of baseball here. Up first, Jacob deGrom.
Line drive center field. Nimmo on the run. Still going back at the wall. We're tied. And Olsen hits a rocket to deep right center field. Forget that. Braves have the lead. Back-to-back home runs by Riley and Olsen. And it's 2-1 Atlanta. He struck out twice. He lines the first pitch. Deep right center field. Can it back. Track wall. It's gone.
It's okay. It's okay. They brought Francisco Alvarez literally up today because he hits tanks in the minors. Please have an iconic signature moment in your first game.
Alvarez swings and loses the bat. Strike 3.
That's not what I was looking for there. Well, that's why we have Max Scherzer.
Center field. This is back and gone. Home run. Dansby Swanson.
And then it becomes kind of normal.
It's gone.
You know what? One win tomorrow, and all that goes away. And would you look at that? There's even an early lead here. Chris Bassett, please get out of the 3rd inning.
Speed up the middle. It's going to get through. Acuna looks behind him. He waves Riley in, and Darno does it.
This was so tough to watch. They only needed one win, and you just felt it all collapse right in front of you. Bassett even called himself feeble when reflecting on all this. And then when they lose the 3rd game, the Braves radio announcer takes one of my favorite lines in TV history from my favorite character in TV history and uses it against me.
You come at the Kings, you better not miss.
Like, are you kidding?
What, you think that's funny?
Hey, it's alright. They're still in the playoffs. The other team in this video hasn't even given me that, since my biggest problem in life was adjusting to middle school. The vibes at Citi Field look great. The black jerseys are popping, and it is time for Met playoff baseball. Game 2 they won, but there was a catch. Jacob deGrom with the Mets is the best pitcher I've ever seen in baseball. That is not an exaggeration. He did his job and kept their season alive with their backs against the wall. This would be the very last game he'd pitch as a Met, and none of us knew it. He signed with the 68 and 94 Texas Rangers after the season. Even the highest Mets point of this video wound up being a heartache in hindsight. It was clearly the highest point because Game 3 also happened. Oh yeah, Bassett said the last two. This was the second one.
Nola on the ground, Lindor can't get it. Bell's gonna come in to score. Him follows him.
Door also.
And he hits that one hard. Past Lindor and into center field. The stolen base pays off. Grisham delivers again. 3-0 San Diego.
Joe Musgrove dominated them on the mound so much that they thought he had to be cheating. They actually believed one pitch he threw to Daniel Vogelbach was like the most disgusting pitch in the history of baseball. The Padres chewed the Mets up and spit them out. A week and a half ago, they felt like World Series champions. They didn't even make it to the round. They were one win in Atlanta away from automatically locking up. It's okay though. I have the Jets, who are playing great right now. And I actually mean that.
Oh, look at the speed of Brees Hall! He's done it again! Brees Lightning! 62 yards for the touchdown!
The Jets look like a real team for the first time in like 7 years. And after my Lord and Savior / backup quarterback Mike White took the reins and cooked the Chicago Bears, whole video on him from me already by the way, the Jets sit at 7-4 in decent playoff contention. Seriously, with 6 games left, win 3 of them, and you make the playoffs. I'll spoil it right now. They didn't get the 3 wins. They lost all of the 6 games. The last 3 when their backs were really to the wall was when it got the most ugly. Final 3 games, 15 total points scored. That's under 2 field goals worth of scoring per game. In a situation where they still could have won 3 in a row to make it once this period of poorly timed ineptitude started. But that's just the way things typically go for fans of this team. Hey, so, the Mets are up to stuff.
Justin Verlander has signed a 2-year contract worth $86.6 million with the New York Mets.
In so many ways, guys, this is an ideal spot for Kodai Senga.
Oh my God! The Mets just re-signed Brandon Nimmo, and they just signed David Robertson. Are you kidding me?
In order to try to make something happen, the 2023 New York Mets dished out more on players than any team ever had in history. And that's not even counting Carlos Correa signing and then not signing. Which, on its own, was an unprecedented and very public process of 3 weeks of having a deal and then not having a deal with a marquee free agent that there really hasn't been anything to compare it to in baseball history. New unbelievably good replacement pitchers for DeGrom, the wallet being opened up to keep solid homegrown players, veteran depth guys with plenty left in the tank. The Mets were building a juggernaut. Everyone in the game was a little annoyed at how much the Mets were willing to spend to make something happen. Expectations were high. I was enjoying the buzz in person with some friends. I proclaimed Lowell Mets to be dead in favor of a new Mets team committed to winning at all times. Only, they didn't win. I wish there was a prolonged run of this season that ended in collapse like 2022, because the thing about the 2023 Mets is they just weren't good. There's no one moment where it all fell apart. There's no one secret underlying reason to blame. If there was, it would honestly make for a better story and a more interesting downfall to study. But there really wasn't one bad switch that got flipped. Before you throw out the Mets losing their closer Edwin Diaz for the season because he blew out his knee celebrating a win in the World Baseball Classic, which sucked in so many ways, that was not the reason the Mets didn't have a good 2023. They just couldn't build enough momentum to get off the ground in the first place, and the hole got bigger and bigger and bigger before it was too deep to get out of. Outfielder Tommy Pham went on the record to say 9 times out of 10, this Mets team would have been great. We got the one where they weren't. It went from 2022 setting a standard of 100-win baseball, spending a record amount of money to remain good, to Max Scherzer publicly saying they told him they were basically planning to give up on next year in just a few months. In fact, neither Scherzer nor Verlander would finish the season with the Mets without being traded away. Scherzer airing some of the dirty laundry left a bad taste in a lot of Mets fans' mouths. In fact, it's pretty amazing how fast his image with the fanbase crumbled since the timeline of this story started. From his first day with the Mets to the moment he first stepped on the mound for that second game in Atlanta, he was beloved. Then there were the 2 bad starts, a suspension for being accused of cheating at baseball with foreign substances, making his distaste for the team retooling after a disappointing season public, when he wasn't exactly dominating in the first place, to, maybe worst of all to the diehard Met fans, going to the Texas Rangers and winning the 2023 World Series. Jacob deGrom doing the same thing. Isn't that poetic? deGrom and Scherzer come to the Mets to be the unstoppable force at the top of the rotation and win a World Series together in Texas, while the Mets sit well under 500 in the standings. But as the Mets were slowly but surely falling into the ground in 2023, there was a glimmer of hope on the other side. The Jets, since the departure of Joe Namath in the mid-1970s, have been defined by their inability to find the superstar quarterback to replace him. Mike White's stat line isn't even that good, and I just revere him all the time. He's on the biggest pedestal you can imagine in my brain, and he had more interceptions than touchdowns. I mean, the best Jet quarterback I ever watched was this man. Remember, the 2022 team had promise. A chance to make the playoffs and break the drought. A drought that started from a time period where I was in 6th grade just like down in yoo-hoos at lunch and about to go to social studies class. I pay taxes now. They wanted to capitalize on that window while it was opening. And it just so happened that one of the very best to ever do it wanted to come save them. Enter Aaron Rodgers.
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
I'm here because I believe in this team. I believe in Coach Saleh. I believe in the direction. I'm an old guy, so I want to be a part of a team that can win it all. And I believe that this is a place we can get that done.
I can't overstate how special this was to Jet fans. A future Hall of Famer, not long removed from still being at the very top of his game, made the decision on his own to join the team with the intent to bring him back to glory. That doesn't happen for them, and Rodgers felt a sense of rejuvenation coming to the Jets. He's happy. He feels better physically, believe it or not. He's embracing New York and Jetsdom as quickly as he can. The effort is being made to save the team. The other players love him, no one has a bad thing to say about him during training camp. This, for a player you could reasonably use the word controversial to describe. The vibes are so unbelievably up around the New York Jets for the first time in at least a decade. I'm even getting chirped about this by people in San Francisco, California.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers, get ready. Get ready.
His first game as a Jet is slated for Monday Night Football on September 11th, 2023. At home, a New York team bringing in a legend for his first game to lead them on national television on the anniversary of the biggest tragedy in city history. The stars are aligning. The stadium is about to explode as he runs onto the field carrying an American flag ready to embrace his Jets tenure. But now, the buzz is ready to transition into the games actually being played. The loaded and unbelievably talented Jets defense gets a stop on their first drive of the season. Rodgers and the offense now come to take the field.
Gets it. Breaks it.
When Breece Hall got to this spot on the field in the Jets' first offensive play of the season, I thought the New York Jets were going to win the Super Bowl. I'm serious. Those were the thoughts in my head. And then, about a minute later,
Projection breaks down and time runs out. Down goes Rodgers, the former first-round pick of the Bears, and now Rodgers sits down.
Well, as expected, an MRI confirmed just a short time ago that Aaron Rodgers suffered a complete tear of his left Achilles tendon, done for the 2023 regular season. It occurred on just the 4th snap that he had played as a member of the Jets.
What's so funny?
When Zach Wilson came in to replace Rodgers at quarterback, an initial fear took over the team and its fans. You're running through the hypotheticals in your head right away, hoping he has an ankle problem that only keeps him out of the game, at the worst. Then the Twitter doctors see something. His Achilles literally moving out of place as he falls to the ground. 4 snaps and 75 seconds into his Jets tenure, the the first season of Aaron Rodgers as a Jet was over. Just like that. He didn't even get to complete one pass. Look at Jets head coach Robert Saleh probably being told the news in real time in his headset. Look at that face. Little did we know it at the time, but it was all over right there. They even won the game and carried out hope for about another month and a half of the season, still playing decent football, even beating the undefeated Eagles at one point in the season. Hope was still briefly there. But we're reminded that we don't get nice things. We have the game-winning Hail Mary tip off guys' fingers. We have another game-winning Hail Mary that isn't caught because one of our guys is basically blocking the other one. We get the possible momentum shift of intercepting Patrick Mahomes taken away by a flag thrown after the guy catches the ball. We lose out on nearly guaranteed points because we can't get the guys to line up and chuck the ball into the ground within 10 seconds. We don't get this holding call on 3rd and 20 in the 4th quarter when we need the ball back. We throw a Hail Mary to end the first half of a game and have it taken back for a 99-yard interception return. Side note, we should probably stop throwing these things. We have our quarterback branded as garbage by a national TV analyst. We get torched by 38-year-old Joe Flacco, who we really could have brought back since the boys love him, and he led them to one of the only wins of my life where they were on the good side of late-game lunacy. Also, full video on that already. We do ask our star wide receiver to throw a pass on a hurt elbow that could have kept him out of next week's game altogether. We do have that. We came into the season with a stud quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. We left it with one of the worst offenses in the NFL. It starts with Super Bowl hope, it ends right back where we started. This is life for fans of these teams. Hope, doubt, then usually collapse. The Mets this offseason made an offer to superstar Japanese pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto for the most money a pitcher would have ever received on the open market, because they want to win and be good. Then, Yamamoto gives the Dodgers a chance to match the offer, which he accepts before testing if the richest owner in baseball by far is willing to give him even more. And the football team, they've been chasing a return to glory since before man set foot on the moon, going on 55 years ago. I still show up to the TV to watch all the games right at the start time though, so maybe I'm the insane one here. Oh yeah, and I'm also a Knicks fan.